Emma didn't wake up one day and decided to rent her own life. It happened quietly through decisions that felt efficient in the moment. She started using a music app when her phone storage began to feel tight, and sometime later a cloud service quietly took over the task of saving her photos. The payments blended into a routine so smoothly that she stopped asking herself if she still needed them. Before, someone walked into a store, paid once, and walked out with ownership, and that meant permanence. Then the internet reshaped products. Technology removed the small pauses where people used to notice money leaving. With accounts saved, cards remembered, and updates arriving automatically, the relationship between product and payment moved away from moments of choice and into the rhythm of everyday use. What once felt like a decision started feeling like part of the environment around her. Companies faced a new kind of pressure that most customers never saw because the product didn't end when the box opened. That pressure slowly pushed companies to change the way products were paid for. Lower the upfront cost so more people could enter, then spread the payment across time. $10 a month felt lighter than hundreds up front, which allowed growth to accelerate. Different industries began absorbing the model in their own way, watching how subscription logic reshaped customer behavior and gradually adapting their services to fit that rhythm. Long before apps existed, television had already trained people to pay monthly for something they couldn't hold, turning entertainment into access long before streaming apps existed. Milk arrived at doorsteps every morning without a new purchase, turning a daily need into something automatic. The idea didn't start with streaming. It simply waited for technology to make it invisible. Emma subscribed to one app because it removed the need to manage files manually. She added a storage plan after repeated warnings that her phone was running out of space. Each decision solved a problem that existed in that exact moment, and over time, it became a structure that organized her routines and removed the need to constantly evaluate each new decision. Emma stopped thinking about prices the way she used to. She no longer felt the moment of spending. It had become automatic, quietly blending into her routine. A tool that once felt expensive as a single purchase now felt harmless as a monthly charge, even when the total cost was higher. When she saw a new service asking for another $10, it felt like joining something already in motion. The transformation didn't arrive through a dramatic announcement. Entering felt natural while leaving required more attention than before. Buried under extra menus and small steps that made canceling feel slightly out of reach, so staying often happened without a second thought. Once companies depended on recurring payments, their focus shifted toward keeping people present inside the system. Free trials stretched across longer periods, and small interface decisions guided users toward continuation without demanding a conscious decision each month. Predictable payments made the future feel easier to measure, which allowed companies to grow faster than ever. Over time, products stopped feeling complete and started evolving month after month. A productivity platform synced directly with Emma's calendar, and leaving it would have meant rebuilding the structure of her daily workflow. Photos stored in cloud archives carried years of personal history, turning cancellation into a process that felt heavier than simply ending a payment, as if leaving meant letting go of part of her own life. Around this time, Emma noticed something else. The next morning at work, people talked about TV shows and tools as if everyone already had access to the same things. Emma noticed how conversations moved forward as if access was already guaranteed. And she realized that staying outside a service didn't feel like opting out anymore. It felt like slowly disappearing from the moments people shared together. Later that night, she opened her streaming app to watch the TV show everyone at work had been talking about, only to find it locked behind a different subscription she didn't have. She then stayed inside the platform she already paid for and pressed play on a film, but a small window appeared asking for an additional rental. Before going to sleep, music played quietly in the background while short ads slipped between songs, suggesting a higher plan if she wanted the interruptions gone. Nothing had technically been taken away from her, yet access began to feel layered, as if paying once only revealed the next thing she was expected to pay for. Owning a game on a digital platform doesn't always mean permanent access. If the platform shuts down, loses licensing rights, or decides to remove the title, the game can disappear from your library even if you paid for it years ago. The same logic applies to streaming. Paying a subscription to watch a specific TV show doesn't guarantee it will still be there tomorrow. Licensing deals expire, catalogs change, and a show can leave overnight while the monthly charge continues. The payment leaves your account, but ownership never transfers to you. Services began competing less over what they offered, and more over how long they could remain part of someone's routine. A notification appeared later that evening, reminding her where she had stopped watching, as if the service was waiting for her to return without needing to ask directly. One afternoon, her design app introduced an upgrade that promised faster rendering. She accepted because deadlines were approaching, and the improvement felt immediate. Weeks later, she realized the upgrade renewed automatically, and walking away would have meant abandoning the workflow she had already built around it. The decision that once felt temporary had become part of the system shaping her routine. As subscriptions multiplied across industries, Emma noticed that searching for a one-time purchase often led her back to plans instead of products, making ownership feel strangely distant. Walking away from a service meant untangling routines that had quietly formed around it, turning cancellation into a slow, time-consuming process. Emma felt the shift more clearly when her phone suggested upgrading her storage plan to keep backing up photos automatically. Everything worked instantly, and she stopped thinking about space altogether. A month later, she tried to downgrade. The phone still worked, but the warnings returned, and parts of her routine suddenly felt restricted again. The subscription logic extended into everyday objects, reshaping how devices behaved by linking their most useful functions to ongoing access instead of permanent ownership. Even simple devices started behaving like memberships. By then, subscriptions were no longer tied to screens. They had started leaking into objects she touched every day. A printer decided how many pages were allowed that month. A security camera saved footage only while a plan stayed active. Finance moved quietly beneath all of it. As predictable revenue reduced uncertainty inside companies, investment followed that sense of stability, allowing the model to expand quietly into parts of daily life that had never operated on recurring payments before. Emma opened her banking app again one evening and scrolled through the recurring charges. None of them felt temporary. The pattern had become structural long before she noticed it. Subscriptions didn't become dominant because people suddenly stopped valuing ownership. They became dominant because predictable revenue changed how companies build products and how markets reward stability. And once your routines transform into recurring income streams, leaving stops being a simple cancellation and becomes a redesign of the life those systems helped construct. Subscriptions changed how products are designed to never feel finished. If you want to support this channel, consider subscribing. Thank you for watching and stay curious.